Sure. I'll be there for sure. Don't worry. I'll miss them. Bam, 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 bam. It's not an easy road. How many see the glamour and the glitter, so them think I better rose. Me say, who feels it knows? Ooh, Lord, help me sustain these blows. I cry. It's not an easy road. How many see the glamour and the glitter, so them think I better rose. Me say, who feels it knows? Ooh, Lord, help me sustain. Why? From the minute of birth to enter this world, obstacle in your way to overcome first. Throughout every day, they seem to get worse. Oh my God, cast away this curse. Everybody are trying to make every end meet you anyway, that them head never like God, you see. No matter what the world may say, out the street, must have been so I won't accept defeat. Now I'm weary, dying and dreary. Got no time to waste your mental load. It's not an easy road. How many see the glamour and the glitter, so them think I better rose. Me say, who feels it knows?
Get the set.
Lord, help me sustain these blows.
We're jumping on. As always, welcome to What's Going On. Give us an indication of life. Thumbs up or heart, something. The audio is coming through, okay?
Lord, help me sustain these blows. Find your eyes to see the sun. Who you love and who you love. Try into this getting the works you have done. Some not satisfied with the post of a life. From the stripes and forests, you got to stay wide. Hold up the head, dancing on both sides. Away and disappear, pray for your life. Righteousness prevail. It's down by my side. Keep a shoulder from the way. You leave him to die. Help us all.
Nobody there can give us a thumbs up.
Hold up my head and cry. I tell you now, it's not an easy road. Oh no, it's not an easy road. I did tell you, it's not an easy road. Oh no, it's not an easy road. Why? I've been traveling morning with such an
Still waiting.
no, it's noon and night. You got to afford to put down my burden alongside you. Oh, I've got to hold it. Yeah, I've got to
All right. Thanks, Clarence. Big up, brother. Big up.
I'm on my face, I've got to put up a smile. I'll make up my mind just to have more mile. Oh God, I've got to, because I know that it's not an easy road. I'm in the city, glamour and the guitar, so they think I better rose. Me say, who feels it knows? Ooh, Lord,
There's no life out there, you know?
these blows.
There is life.
Not an easy road. I'm in the city, glamour and the guitar, so they think I better rose. Me say, who feels it knows? Ooh, Lord, help me sustain. Why? From the minute of birth to enter this world, obstacle in your way to overcome. Throughout every day, they seem
We'll have
to
to start
get
with the budget
worse.
content,
Oh my God, cast away this curse.
All right, there we go. We'll pause it. Greetings, folks. Welcome to Wataguan. My name is Donovan Simon. I'm the president for the Jamaican Canadian Association, Alberta, based in Calgary, warm, sunny Calgary. It's a bright evening here. And Wataguan is our way of connecting to the community, talking about things that are happening in our association, in our city, in our country, in Jamaica, in the world. And in June, we've been focusing on health issues. We've been talking about some of these things that affect primarily our Black people. And today we're going to talk about some natural options, going back to the earth. We have a special guest that's going to come on and share some information with us later on. But of course, we have to start off and go and go into the staples of Wataguan. I think some people listen just to get the patois word of the day. And today, the patois word is fussy. I was thinking about that one, fussy. And if you were to use this in a sentence, if you were in Jamaica, now it have a number of different meanings, but the way we grew up with it was somebody would look and say, boy, that picnic their skin full of fussy. Right? And usually sometimes them give some washout or something for sort that out. But we'll get to that. But patois word of the day is fussy. For those who know what it means, please put it in the comment section so those who don't know or don't understand the Jamaican patois can get a little taste. Some of the things that are coming up. Next Saturday, the 26th, we're going to have a general meeting. I think it's the last general meeting we're going to have on Zoom as Alberta opens up on the 1st of July. So general meeting on Zoom starting at 7 o'clock. The link is in our on our social media, on our website, and also in the weekly newsletter. And then July 10th, as some people stampede, we're going to do a cultural showcase and something called Lickle Taste Benefit, right? Lickle Taste is an opportunity to get some real authentic Jamaican food. Food services from 2 to 4, real Jamaican stuff. It's a benefit event because we're looking to raise some funds from this particular activity to support our scholarship or backpack program and our benevolent fund. So if you're in Calgary, Airdrie, Chestermere, anywhere in and around, order, you can pick up at our building, or there is an option for delivery. So share this out with your friends and family, all your enemy them. It don't really matter. Send it out to everybody so that they can skip the kitchen on July 10th and get some authentic Jamaican food delivered straight to their door, or they can come and pick it up by our building. And when that is done, we're going to go into a real cultural showcase. Artists like Dirt, poetry, DJ, singers, dancers, you name it, gospel, old school reggae, Canadian reggae, live stream on our YouTube channel or Facebook channel and our website starting at 6 p.m. So July 10th, mark that one. And if you haven't jumped on our YouTube channel yet to subscribe after the show, please jump on our YouTube channel and subscribe. We're trying to grow our subscriber base. So remember that one, July 10th, skip the kitchen, Lickle Taste. And after that is done, then you jump online and watch a awesome cultural showcase. We want to remind everybody that we are offering scholarships. There are a number of scholarships that are up for grabs this year. Deadline for submission is the 30th of June. If you know somebody who is in a tertiary institution or is entering a tertiary institution, please suggest to them that they jump on our website, fill out the application, and become potentially one of the recipients of our scholarships. We're continuing to ask and invite everybody to be a part of our Helping Hands program to support our building. We have a 16 by 14 donor wall, and we're looking for your support by getting your logo, your name on that wall. There are a number of different categories. The information, I keep saying it over and over. And starting in July, we're going to start to feature those who are on that wall, right? On our social media and on Watagwan. We continue to ask for your support for our library. We want to build the single largest collection of Jamaican and Afro-Caribbean books in Canada. Yes, I keep saying that. That's our ambition. So we're asking for your help. So if you've got some Jamaican books, some Afro-Caribbean books that you can donate, you know, last week somebody from Lethbridge offered us some books. Some people in Calgary called and offered us some book. So the libraries continues to grow, but there's space for thousands of books. So please help us with that one. To get in touch with us, jump on our website, jump on our social media, give us a call, send us an email. There are a number of different ways to get in touch with us. Of course, especially if you're going to donate some books or you want some information on the Helping Hands program, or you just want to connect, right? Reach out to us. We're here to support community and deal with all the different things, answer questions, and just be a positive contributor to the community. All right. For those who are just joining, patois word of the day is fussy. Greetings, Glenn, as I see you throw some words up on there. For those who are just jumping on, put it in the comment section what your recollection of fussy is, right? Let's see. What we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about natural options. We've been talking about health issues, right? And before I bring our guest on, I was doing a little research as always to check out the topic, and these were some things that popped out at me. Some home remedies that were backed by science, because some people think, when you're talking about natural options, that there's no proof, or there's just hearsay. Turmeric. In fact, when I saw this list, there's a couple of things, and the Jamaicans on the line, I'm sure, can think about some of the things that you might have seen when you were growing up, right? Busy, right? Everybody, should know, if there's anything like little poisoning, somebody jump for some busy, right? I know if you used to get like a nail in your foot, them would eat up some banana and tie it on your foot, stuff like that. But look at some of these things: ginger, eucalyptus, lavender, mint, right? All of those things, natural stuff, right? And my father is 88 years old. I know he's not on Facebook, so I'm not watching this, but I can tell you, every time I used to talk to him about any little ailment, there is a corresponding bush. There is a corresponding thing that him can pick from somewhere or buy at the market to treat some of these illnesses. And that's what we want to talk about today. So I'm going to invite Moya Gill on with me. Moya is a registered holistic nutritionist who's been in practice well, in the industry about 20 years, in practice for about 13. And she runs a practice out of Markham, Ontario, called Solutions to Health. I might have gotten that wrong, but she can't correct me, right? But uh, Moya is here to talk to us about natural options, right? Back to the earth. Moya, you have to go unmute though.
Yes, Donovan, yes.
There we go.
Yeah, so this is my passion. So I hope I don't get, we're not going to go over time, but you'll
No,
find
man,
it will be
we don't have
contagious.
no time restrictions,
It will be contagious because I totally, absolutely love what I got into. I was introduced to natural medicine, I would say about 20 years ago, actually. And
Mm,
I didn't get serious with it until I was in Canada and I was stuck. And I was like, you know what, it was thrown at me and I took it and ran with it. And I'm a little sponge, so I like to get into, and I get into something, I get into it. So I
mm,
went back to school, did a whole bunch of training, got into employment that was all about natural medicine. I was a product specialist. I was writing labels for natural medicine companies. I started teaching naturopath, anybody who dealt with natural remedies or natural, anything natural, basically, in your practice. So that would be the naturopath, the homeopath, the nutritionist, that
mm,
dentist that uses natural medicine, that acupuncturist, that physiotherapist that really incorporated natural medicine in their practice. I was the person out there teaching them how to do these things. Like
yeah.
actually it was a whole 180-degree for me when I got in. So when I got in, I threw in everything. And then I noticed that, Moya, you have a lot of knowledge, you can do this thing. So I opened my first clinic in Scarborough in 2012. I actually opened the clinic. I was still working full time, yeah, that's sometime
Yeah.
more. And then in 2013, I remember when they were having the elections in Ontario, I asked, she's now a provincial member of parliament, Mitzi Hunter. I asked Mitzi to come and open my clinic for me, and that created a lot of stir in Toronto. So I was hoping maybe I had maybe 20 or 30 people. I had over 200 people at my opening. Luckily enough, we had enough ackee and saltfish samosas to give them. Yeah, because I had a good friend who did a he did a really good job with me with the catering. So I had enough people, and that's what got me going into this natural medicine thing. So it's been a journey. Now my clinic is in Markham, and I love it. Call
All
it
right. So
that's
maybe
they
let's
call
let
me in Toronto the natural lady.
all right, yeah, the natural lady. So let's maybe go back, and especially for us who have Jamaican roots,
Yeah.
and we possibly grew up, with fever grass and lime leaf tea and all of these things. Let's talk about some of these natural options for common ailments, the cold and all some of those things.
Okay, I'll go back just a little back. When we look at cold and flu, allergies, conditions, arthritis, eczema, FASI, yes, the eczema. We have a medical term for it now, yeah. Bottom line is these are symptoms, Donovan. And what we have found in natural medicine, which we'll get into in a little bit, is the body is talking to you and you don't know how to answer it. So it literally hits you in the face. It comes up with a cold. The fascie comes out on the skin. You get the flu. You get these conditions. The bones start crackling. They call it arthritis. They give a name to it. So when we find these natural medicines, our forefathers many moons ago. I mean, I can talk about the African because I am African. For my forefathers came from Africa, so I was able to study their mode of operation then too, how they did, how they treated like the cold. So they didn't honestly, they didn't give you something for the cold. What they did was look at what system in your body was creating that cold, was causing you to have that cold. So it came down to, oh yes, the immune system. So literally what our forefathers did was dealt with the cause of that cold, and you have a chain reaction of healing happening afterwards. So when my grandmother give you some eucalyptus oil, it wasn't, or you should get some echinacea, or you drink maybe some busy tea or thing. What they were really looking at was fixing the immunity for this person. Because to fix a cold, you basically pull out the something, maybe you can buy a Tylenol cold and flu medicine, and that will work to fix it. But you haven't fixed the cause of that cold.
Right. So back to the roots then. When we look at these solutions, right?
Yes,
Uh, whether it's the cold or, like you say,
arthritis.
diabetes and arthritis,
Yes.
uh, were we seeing natural remedies as anti-medicine, or were they seeing it as medicine? Because sometimes we get into that, battle of what is this versus that, right?
You know what? I love that question. You know what, Donovan? We, I had to. I'm going to give you an example, and then the question will be answered. Somebody came to me and wanted, they couldn't sleep. And I said, "Oh my goodness, we have some remedies here. You can name it. They call it nice, give it nice names, right? So we have some melatonin for you, and we're gonna get you on some. Go to the pharmacy and get some sleep remedy or something as a, or sleep now, whatever, in the health food store." And one of the products, when I picked it up, the product was called Sleep Now because I wanted to get some sleep, and it had all these herbs in it. Now one of the herbs, you said, "Oh wait, this herb is soursop leaf." And I remembered years ago when there was a death in the in the community, anybody who had a soursop tree in that community would go pick the leaves and carry it to that house. Cause what, everybody in the house, you have a death in the family, nobody not sleeping, they're anxious, a lot of stuff is going on in the family. They need them to calm their system down. Soursop leaf was it? And I said, but so when I'm being paid now by a company to write down soursop leaf on a label on a bottle to say that you're getting 20 milligrams of soursop, people say, "Oh wait, Miss Jenny have one tree around the road."
Right.
Bottom line is we are using those same remedies, and what conventional medicine, or we call it medicine, the medical doctor you go to nowadays, or the pharmaceutical companies, they've taken what we have, bottled it, and sold it back to us. And then we walk into the store and buy it for $30 as opposed to taking that two source of leaf from Miss Jenny around
And
the road.
boil it and make some
All the
tea,
time
right?
makes sense. Yes. Just a
Because
basic example. So we
yeah,
call
well,
it.
'cause we grew up with sauce up leaf as tea, right?
So somebody see me doing this, they think I'm backward and I am not very learned and I don't know what I'm doing because I went to the doctor and they gave me this bottle and this is what I'm taking for my sleep, for my sleep disorder. And I'm like,
Right.
you know, it's just how the perspective we have on things now, and we have to change it because we got it 200-300 years ago, but we've been brainwashed.
So I'm glad you talk about the issue of perspective,
Yeah,
because there's the tendency to think in extremes. So either that natural medicines or natural options, I'm going to call them remedies,
yeah,
are old school and there is a modern, better way,
right.
right? Or vice versa. So is there some balance to be drawn between them?
There has been, you know what, we have come a long way, and I'm talking we like, I've been in this forever, but I've come a long way myself. When I got to appreciate what I understand. I remember years ago when I used to go to my aunt's house down in my in St. James, and she would get this big, huge tubs of molasses. And it was like, who that thing, it tastes terrible. That's all I could say, little girl, it thing tastes awful. You know what? I had to pay in nutrition school for them to teach me and sit in conferences and seminars, hundreds of dollars, for them to teach me the amazing use of molasses as an iron supplement and how wonderful it is as a tonic. If you're ill and you want to get some energy back, throw some molasses in a warm cup of milk. And I'm like, I had to pay to get that information.
Yeah. In fact, we never wanted to.
And when I break down all the contents of molasses, I'm like, oh my goodness, why am I taking an iron tablet?
Yeah.
This doesn't. So it's the little things like that. So we see it as not, it's not authentic because the guy in the white coat did not give it to me. But what the point I want to get to know is it's changing. So we have medical doctors and we have naturopathic doctors. So now I don't know about all the other provinces, but I know for BC and for Ontario, which I'm 100%. There are other provinces, but I'm not. I don't quote me on the other provinces that have no or naturopathic doctors they're not called. Usually, you normally see a naturopathic doctor as, let's call it Mary Jane. Mary Jane, doctor of natural medicine. That's what you normally see before. Now, in the past maybe 6 or 3 years, it's now Dr. Mary Jane. There's a huge difference there, massive. So now the naturopathic doctors are now considered family practitioners, like a
Right.
family medical practitioner. And I know in BC and in Ontario that is so they're putting some credibility to the natural medicine practitioner. They're
Right.
still holding back a bit, which I'm going to get to in a little bit. So you cannot go to a naturopath and they can write your prescription, but they're not going to give you something for like amoxicillin for some antibiotics. They're going to give
Right.
you something else that's totally natural, and it has research behind it and it has authenticity behind it because it was given to you by a doctor.
Right.
And insurance companies will honor it as well.
So since we're talking about authenticity and as Jamaicans,
Yes.
Canada has opened up and I'm going to talk about the weed.
Go ahead.
Yeah, man, me have to talk about the weed thing because because it's a multi-million dollar growing into a multi-billion dollar industry from an economic perspective.
Yeah.
But for years, and I know there's a ton of research, Dr. Lowe and others in Jamaica have been talking about some of the benefits of cannabis, right? How does that fit into the whole natural remedy realm?
It's a part that breaks my heart in a lot of ways because a lot of people are behind bars now because they want to smoke a few. And I think it's really unfair to them now when you think about the way you can stand on any street corner or you have signs, street smokers stand here and you're like, years ago, you were jailed for doing that.
Yeah.
Peter Tosh years ago, you remember his song Legalize
Yeah,
It,
man. Yeah,
Don't
man. Yeah, man.
Criticize It, and I'll advertise it. We snuffed at that many years ago. And there, like I said, there's something in the magic. You have to always follow the money. If they didn't see, which is the authorities or the people who have the research who are looking at how good this thing is, didn't see the benefit of the weed, trust me, they would not be putting people behind bars for it. Always follow the money. If something is going to make you money, they're going to criminalize it first. I'll give you some basic ideas on what we use cannabis for right now in natural medicine. Blood sugar regulation. So the diabetic, amazing for the diabetic. You have a broken bone, you can boil it as a tea and have it. It increases the mending, basically the bone get better faster. Arthritis, that inflammation that's causing the arthritic condition. ADD, ADHD, people used to think you smoke it and you go crazy with the weed. It's the opposite ways, opposite direction. ADD, ADHD benefits amazingly from cannabis if it's done properly, if you're taking it properly. Post-traumatic stress syndrome. A lot of people who are under a lot of anxiety, it works with it. MS, and I can talk about MS because MS is one of my specialties here in Ontario. Amazing, and Parkinson's. Any autoimmune condition, cannabis is the thing for it. Of course, if you're an alcoholic, we usually recommend, because it is now quote unquote legal, it's better, and the high you get from it, from being an alcohol, you can transition to cannabis just to help you because it is less traumatic on your body physically than the alcohol is. And
Right.
there's a myriad of other things, but those are just a few that I jumped out. Oh, for the ladies, drink the tea, amazing with weight loss.
All right. So, well, everybody, so all the ladies them coming. Okay, man want to lose weight,
Hey, the
right?
ladies, let me say so faster.
But let's dive into a couple other of these things that are common in our culture.
Yes.
Turmeric and garlic, for example, right?
Mhm.
There's some people who swear on the benefits of garlic and
Well, you know what?
ginger.
I support it. I support it, and it's a lot of them. People are saying there's no research or there is no science behind it, and that's not true. We have to give credit where it is due. My grandmother didn't. I don't think she knew what she was doing, but her grandparents taught her that, and then she taught me that every year. I'm going to use the term September morning. Every September morning, she would line us up and say, listen, and she come, she give you a little tea, your little thing. We call it the washer. They bottom that
I mean,
washer.
what I think that they call salvific,
Thousands of them, and that's so right.
Senapot.
They like me. Oh, you know, I want to get to why she was doing it because
Right.
there's a method to the madness. And
Yeah.
now I have a practice where not 99.9, but 100% of my clients, I don't apologize. You can't work with me if you don't do it. You have to do the washer
Yeah, for
because
cleanse.
you have to detox the body. It's like you can't throw new wine into old wine skin. So my grandmother learned from her grandmother that there was a method to the madness to do this washout thing. And I have met Jamaicans who live in Toronto for 20, 30 years and they have never done a washout. The last one I met, her end was not very good because, eventually when she called me for the washout, I said, when was the last time you do one of these things? You used to do it with your kids in Jamaica. What happened? She said, no, man, she doesn't do it since you come to Canada. I don't do those things. She was in the hospital 3 days later with a diagnosis of colon cancer. Well, can I tell you? She came out of the hospital a week later with a bag on her side because she hadn't done the washout. Point I want to take is there is a method to the madness in everything that we're doing. So these herbs, the aloe vera, turmeric, garlic, everything that our parents were doing, if it wasn't working for them, they didn't say, no, you have a cold, let's make some garlic, ginger, and lemon tea. And you boil all of it together, you make a tea and use a little bit of honey and sweeten it, and all of a sudden the cold start come up and you don't know why. You just know that it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
So you just do it out and you tell your kids to do it and you continue to do it.
Yeah.
So how do you think science came about? Things work. They tried something that in science we call it experiment.
Yeah.
So when I say to you garlic tea works, because I've experimented and I can tell you that it works. And
Right.
garlic is something you pick from the ground up, you boil it, you can see how it's grown. I say to my clients, why I go natural is if you cannot identify the food, don't eat it. And you're like, what are you talking about? Easily. I walk into the grocery store and I see a piece of chicken leg, and I say, yeah, that's a chicken leg. I can recognize it. That's a thigh, and that's yeah, that's a chicken leg. But I go into the store and I pick up a can of Vienna sausage. I don't know what is in that. I see some long things, and I know that there's no animal that look like that. So, or a piece of sausage or something that I can't see, I can't identify the quote unquote of the parent. So you can see an apple and you say you pick an apple and you hold it and that's what it looks like. Yeah, it's an apple. As opposed to getting a jar with some sauce, some brown sauce in it, and they call it applesauce. Why not
Right.
use apple?
Right. 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 So
So when I tell a client to go back to the earth,
yeah.
use the things that you can identify because history has shown that you take some orange, eat an orange, you're gonna get some vitamin C. It's gonna help your immune system, and you're gonna get nice skin from it as well because vitamin C picks up the skin, and that is the science. And there's more to it. It is documented in other medical journals, but it's not benefiting that naturopath or that nutritionist or that natural medicine practitioner to do it because there's quote unquote, well, I'll get into the politics afterwards, Donovan. There's no money in it.
Yeah. Because that's where I was going to go now with the whole
Yes.
issue of diet, and why aren't we hearing more of a push towards natural options, natural foods, etc. Right? When there's clearly so many benefits to be derived. Last week we had Dr. Gian, and he was just talking about the impact of processed foods and stuff on us. Right? So let's talk about that a little bit from a natural options perspective. Cereal in the morning versus banana.
Yeah. You see, Donovan, you're getting political now, right?
Yeah, man, but that's all right.
You're getting right. So if you know now what is in the air now? COVID is in the air,
Hmm.
right? COVID is in the air. And what else is in the air? Vaccines are in the air. But with vaccines, what else is in the air? Some massive, big pharmaceutical companies. We're looking at Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson and Johnson. Yeah, these are huge, especially Pfizer. It's a massive, huge pharmaceutical company. And this now, like I said, COVID is everywhere. So these pharmaceutical companies are now everywhere. I just said there's no money in it. Medical doctors are well trained, amazing. I love them dearly, and I don't hit medical doctors because my dear, I call her my daughter, and my niece, but she's considered my child. I have two nieces that are right now in medicine, and I'm like, yes, I love you dearly. I tell them to go do medicine because I said I'll teach you how to help people heal afterwards. We they don't make we don't make money from pharmaceutical drugs. The medical doctors, you walk into their office, the first thing the doctor sits down, he starts writing. I mean, I remember I went to wish my doctor happy birthday one day, and he sat down. And I said, "Well, Doctor K, I just came to wish you happy birthday today." He says, "Oh, I was gonna write you a prescription. You didn't want anything today, Molly." I'm like, "No, I just went with your birthday." For every prescription that's written, and this is really huge, and it's something that a lot of people don't understand what happens in the back end. For every prescription that's written for a pharmaceutical drug, it's somebody has to get a kickback on it. First, the company's going to make a lot of money. Like for every vaccine that's being given out, pharmaceutical companies making some money because they made it, and that's understood. But there are thousands of other medicines or prescription drugs that's out there that people are using for the common cold. That's easy. That's a good one. They have high blood pressure for high blood pressure or arthritis, and these prescriptions are being written every single week for a person for the rest of their lives. That's a lot of money. You don't have that with natural medicine. Because first, Hippocrates says, let your food be your medicine and your medicine your food. So the concept in natural medicine is you are what you eat. And if your food is not your medicine, then it is not healing you, then it's hurting you.
Right.
Concept here is you're supposed to get big word, which is not used a lot in conventional medicine, is healing. So healing means that you're moved from one state of health to another state of
Yeah.
health. So you should be getting,
You get better.
so you should be on the
Yeah.
same, so you're being,
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember when God made it, I wasn't there when he made us, but he made us believe so himself.
Because man, so boy, I
It's
couldn't around
beautifully
so.
and wonderfully made. And I was like,
Yeah.
so if he made us, why is that we can't heal? Why is it never depend this thing for the rest of my days? It's so it's like I said, it's kind of political. Why you will never have the natural medicine or back to the earth or that garlic tea or that recommendation for maybe valerian, which I call it thinking for Jamaica,
Right.
be on the top of the shelf or the top of the list of things that a doctor will say, you could try some of this or try some of that. They will not do that because there's no money in there for them. They write your prescription, that's where they get their kickback. So I love, there has to be something because I mean, hey, I've been to the doctor several times and I have to use prescription meds all the time as well. And I give respect there. But I have to understand too why there's some things that allow the body to heal. The body always wants to heal. So let me do that garlic tea right now. Let me try some lavender. Let me do some mint tea.
Yeah.
You have a concoction. Let me try. Your blood pressure is up. My goodness, there's this thing called hawthorn. Amazing. You boil the tea. You can have it in a tablet if you want, if it's processed, and you'll be surprised to see how quickly that thing really helps to balance out that blood pressure. But it's not the first option. And then too, there's a question of how much of it do you really use? Because there's some people who think more is better, and that's usually not the case with a lot of natural medicine things. So you have to do it with caution because they think, yeah, I'm going to use this thing and they use the whole one because they want to get well quicker.
Quick
Yeah,
fast. Yeah.
you have to be careful there too.
So isn't that part of the culture that I think maybe we're struggling with a little bit? We want things instant. If I have a headache, I want to take a tablet and it disappear. Or, if my blood pressure high, I take the tablet 3 times a day and I'm fixed, right? L- Isn't that part of what's affecting us and our use or lack thereof
It
of
is
natural remedy?
microwave mentality to health, and I can understand it because I have been sick too, and I've seen I'm around people who are sick all the time, and when you want to get better, you want to get better right now, especially when you're in pain. But I'll give you a scenario. I have a client I'm working with now that has some gallbladder issues. And I say, you know what? we have this little thing we use in natural medicine for it helps to dissolve and break down gallstones, and I've done it with huge success over and over and over. But you will go to the doctor, and your gallbladder, they say that your gallbladder is inflamed because you have gallstones in there and stuff. The first option is going to be surgery. And in natural medicine, we say first do no harm. So if you're going to cut that person and take that gallbladder out, because that's how conventional medicine works with remove, you have a gallstone, this is how we get to get rid of it. You will never have another gallstone anymore because now you have no gallbladder. We say, you know what, let's try to dissolve this gallstone. Let's try to preserve that gallbladder. And there are natural remedies there, but the only problem now is whereas you can walk into the hospital and you come out 2 hours later and you don't have a gallbladder and you know you'll never have another gallstone, but you ain't got no gallbladder. With natural, it might take a good 6 weeks. So you have to be patient. And a lot of people don't have that patience, especially when it comes to healing and when you have pain. So I can relate to it, but I am usually there to encourage them. You know what? It's worth the wait because you were born with a gallbladder for a purpose. You were born with every organ for a purpose. So when you remove it, don't think that you're missing the use of that organ because you were perfectly made when you were put together.
All right. So let's drift into some of these essential oils and some of these things that are available to help with certain conditions. Walk us through a couple of them.
Okay.
Eucalyptus and lavender and
Lavender, yes. Donovan, there's a whole era of a study now. I mean, there are companies that all they do is are essential oils, and they have names. That's why you have doctor, you have naturopath, and you have homeopath. They have names to them. They're called the system is called aromatherapy. Sorry, so you have an aromatherapist.
right.
Peppermint. Just remember, oils can be used. There are some companies that make these oils where they're edible. Well, a lot of them are not edible. So you have to be very careful when you're taking the oil, which ones will say it's an edible oil or it's not an edible oil. Peppermint is very, very easy. Most peppermint companies, you can just drop some in some water, drop them in some hot water, and you're good to go. What does peppermint help with? Your stomach, digestive issues, motion sickness. You're traveling, you're going on a cruise, you're going on an airplane, or you're having a long trip in a car, and you always travel with motion sickness. Peppermint. So if you don't want to be having a peppermint tea all the time, what you can do, just drop a few drops, maybe on a rag or a cotton swab is usually a good one, and just stick it somewhere somewhere in your clothes, or every now and then you just sniff on it, and that will help because you're taking it medicinally, you're infusing it into your system. That's the easy one for peppermint. Nausea, vomiting, have some peppermint. Now, you can do it as an oil and prepared as an essential oil, but you can also have it as a tea. And peppermint tea is amazing when you're having a stomach upset and stuff. Bergamot. That is one not very common, but a really, really great one. Bergamot you use for healing. Say you have a wound that's not healing very quickly, dilute it. A good thing to dilute it, you can dilute it with a little bit of olive oil or so and apply it to the wound, but to the wound. But it's also very good for anxiety. If you're getting a little anxious about anything, you have an interview to take. I call it my rescue remedy. Bergamot works with that. Lavender, or all-time favorite. Everybody uses lavender. You can't sleep. Besides, it smells really nice as well. It smells really nice. Just a little bit on some cotton swabs for areas in the room. You don't need to apply it directly to your skin, but damp the oil, the cotton swab, put them in the four corners of the room, go to bed. You're good. If you have an infuser, not an infuser, the other way around, a diffuser, just pour some oil in there and then it diffuses the air out really nicely. It smells, your entire home will smell of lavender, but at the same time, it is calming your system down. Every client I have with high blood pressure, I usually recommend they always have a little bottle of lavender around them because it calms them down really, really nicely. It helps with blood pressure very well.
Mhm.
And if you can't sleep, lavender is you can add your lavender to your body wash, take a shower late at night, and you just feel so relaxed and calm. Very nice. Nice one, my favorite, but it's not very common and extremely expensive, and it's called frankincense. Yes, it's one of
Which one
those
is this?
ones one of those oils that one of the wise men came, yeah. Gold,
Oh,
frankincense,
frankincense. Oh, yeah.
frankincense. Listen, if you know somebody with breast cancer, I had to work with it with the breast cancer, but I use it as a poultice. It's very interesting. I don't recommend everybody with breast cancer go picking up frankincense now. Use it with some direction, but can be used as a poultice. Add it with the most times when I'm using it, I use it with like with black clay and add some frankincense, add it to the area. It literally pulls stuff out. It's really crazy, but you have to see the frankincense at work. Eucalyptus, of course, the cold pain reliever, amazing. It's a decongestant. You can just add it to the chest area. I would say put some oil, dilute it a whole lot, but it could decongest you very well over the nostrils, or you could just smell, just infuse it, just by
Yeah.
smelling it. That works. Clove, antibacterial, antiparasitic, antiviral, pain relief. That's a clove. I've seen people with clove. This is as an oil, but just the whole clove bud. They just get one and just you just had a tooth extracted.
Yeah, yeah.
They just
Well,
put
I
some
see
in the
people do that
bottle
with
with this.
garlic as well. They got them four wisdom teeth and then just stick
Put it in there.
a piece of
And
garlic.
what the property that you're looking at with those things is it's antibacterial, antiviral, and antiparasitic. Because you
Yeah,
don't want to get another bacteria in that
right.
in your
Yeah.
mouth. It works amazingly. And our all-time favorite too, which everybody uses it. You find it in tablets. Most people use it for sleep. Chamomile. Chamomile
Yeah.
is a relaxant, really, really great. Great for sleep disorders, but it's also good with colds, fever, and nausea. And you'll find these oils primarily in the health food stores.
Hmm.
But if you're purchasing them, if there's somebody there who's there with some knowledge, I would recommend you just ask them, tell them what you want, and they will guide you whether it's a ingestible oil or a non-ingestible. It is a
I,
big
I,
difference with how it's prepared.
I'm going to come to another point. And
Yes.
if people are watching and have some questions, because typically I know we see a few comments here and there, but if you have some questions, so throw it in the comment section and I'll definitely get to it because I think this is some good information. Back in the day, Maya,
Mhm.
everybody well, I know, well, I shouldn't say everybody, but people leaving Jamaica going to foreign always leave with a whole pile of bush,
Oh yeah.
right? Them have a wrap up of cerasee, a wrap up of fever grass, a wrap up of this, a wrap up of that.
Mhm.
And some of us, including myself, used to make fun of it because I used to say it used to confuse the sniffer dogs because them a look for herb and them and them smell a bag and there are so many
But the
things in it.
Mhm.
Let's talk about some of these bush, and the value of them because I confess to have, to make fun of it, but now I'm looking back and say, boy, maybe we should really carry some cerasee and some fever grass and
So,
some
you know
leaf
what?
and
It is so true. It is so, I look back at it now and I say, I'm paying so much money to learn about Cersei and Busy. Aloe vera is
yeah,
listen, I did a whole session on aloe vera one afternoon. It's called, they call it holy water, the aloe vera water. It is an amazing plant. Why would we take them from home to here very easily? We're coming to a quote unquote foreign. We consider foreign right now, maybe US or Canada, and we're up here in Toronto where it's cold for 8 months of the year. I know it's worse over there in Calgary, Donovan, so don't tell me, it's colder.
well, that's what I'm saying, but I don't
These
think so.
plants are not grown here tropically. So they're tropical plants. That's one. You can have them all year round to use. So most of our families will take them from Jamaica when they're coming. Like I can tell you, anybody, I have a huge Jamaican client base here in Toronto, and everybody that comes into my office and you're going back wherever in the Caribbean you're going, I said, carry back some such and such. So one lady was very kind to me. She carried back. I told her, I thought she was gonna take a little container of moringa. So she said, no man, I have moringa in my back. I said, you have moringa in your backyard? I had moringa to give to all of my clients when that woman came back. I'm certain she took her entire suitcase of moringa for me. Why
Yeah,
is it so important? You
yeah,
won't find moringa in your backyard here in Toronto. So
right.
when you can get them out to the Caribbean, take them if you know how to use them because they are precious.
Yeah. And again, it's learning. Because
Yes.
there's the tendency, and again, like I said earlier, I was guilty of, we come foreign and there's better medicine and all the rest of it. And we don't play the value, right? Of some of these things that we grew up on.
You know what we call I think I love Bob Marley. So emancipate your mind,
Yeah,
your yourself from mental slavery, and that mental slavery, the mentality that we have to that foreign is better.
yeah,
And we have come to the realization after being here for 20 years, not really.
yeah, that's true.
and in
That's
a lot of different ways as well for your health purposes. Maybe a little bit of quality of life. We could debate it, but dealing with natural medicine here now, what you're getting as medicine is. I remember I did chemistry, a good amount of chemistry. I did chemistry at UWI for years, and when I was able to walk into the lab at UWI and make a bottle of syrup, literally, and you give me the flavor that you want, and I could go into the lab and make pineapple syrup, ginger syrup, and I didn't have to take a ginger or pineapple in there. They're called esters, depending on how much the longer the chain. It's chemistry. Now, a lot of that happens in the labs where your medication is being made. So no, ginger didn't go into that decongestant for that stomach remedy that you have. No valerian didn't go into it. We call it thinking for actually. None, these remedies are not. They were literally what they've done with conventional medicine now is mimic what the herbs have been doing for years and recreate what you an an unreal part.
them create a
So
synthetic version.
the
Yeah.
synthetic version, basically. That's what must are getting old on and keep your head going. I need some fish oil. Yeah, fish oil would help me with that oil. Yes. And
Yeah.
ginkgo.
Fish head.
Right. Fish oil and ginkgo would help me there. Yeah. So they've made this version that when it gets into our bodies, there's a term that I use all the time with my clients. Ensure that whatever you're taking in is food for you. Because if your body can't recognize it, it is going to be like, it is not of the form that I know. I'm a life form. I get up and I breathe. Whatever comes in has to have had some form of life in it. So if you're taking in a synthetic medicine that had no life form in it before, it's going to do the work it's asking you to do. If you want a painkiller, take the Tylenol, it's going to do it. But it's going to leave a sludge, and there's
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
it's
And
going
it's
to
interesting you said that, right? I remember my doctor used to warn me about uh, Advil. Like he says, if you don't have to, don't take it because it's going to have at some point some effect on the walls of your stomach. And
yeah,
you want to think, okay,
big holes in there.
that's the doctor
Literally.
telling me that,
That is true. That
right?
is that is. I usually say to clients, I remember I'll give credit to antibiotics, one of the best inventions in the 20th century. A lot of people would be dead right now without antibiotics. I have to admit that. But for every dose of antibiotic you take, there are some little things in your gut called flora, and that give them pretty names like lactobacillus, acidophilus, bifidobacterium, bifidum, so pretty names like that. But they're basically good bacteria. Every time you take one tablet of antibiotic, say you had a sore foot, a sore thumb, or you maybe had an ulcer, and the doctor said, I need to put you on some antibiotics. You take that antibiotic, each antibiotic kills your good bacteria in your gut in the trillions. A big word, trillions. Now you're going to go into the health food store and you see some, probiotics, and you say, 20 billion, 25. You're killing in the trillions and you're putting back in 20 and 30 billion. I say to you, it's going to take a good 3, 4, 5 years of taking that 20 billion every single day. And most people they're not that consistently taking their probiotics to replenish what you lost with that antibiotic. But it's killing bacteria, which is amazing, but it's killing good and bad. By the time you're done with that antibiotic, say 10, 15 days, or let's say 5 days, the amount of gut flora you have demolished in your gut, you need to go having like a whole ice cream tub of yogurt 3, 4 times a day to be able to replenish even half of that amount. I say if you have a sore, garlic is an amazing antibacterial remedy. It's antiviral, antiparasitic, and it's antiviral, antiparasitic, and it's antibacterial. You start taking garlic, and you'll be surprised to see how the healing comes. If it's in your stomach, throw in some aloe vera. Aloe vera is the only plant on the planet, and unapologetic, the only plant on the planet that heals the body on the inside. So you have an ulcer, heals the body on the inside, similar to how you do work on the outside. So you get a cut on your hand and you slap on some aloe vera, or you get burnt in the kitchen and you slap on some aloe vera on it. You see the third-degree burn go with aloe vera put slapped on it. Take that aloe vera juice in on the inside. It does the same level of healing in that stomach as you would taking any other conventional medicine. And aloe vera does not leave a sludge. It does not have that side effect. and it's
Yeah.
very healing, very soothing on the GI tract.
All right. Listen, we could keep going
I tell you,
on
don't
this.
get me started.
Yeah, we could keep going on this. I hope the people who are watching this live and watching the video get something from this. Natural options, back to the earth. Lots of things that I think we can do. But maybe the biggest message out of this, Maya, is, what you eat is your medicine, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Your food is your let your food be your medicine and your medicine your food. If it's not giving you nutrition, then why are you taking it? Or why are you putting it in your system?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're hurting yourself.
All right. Awesome. Maya, I appreciate the time. Thanks for being on Wataguan.
What a pleasure.
All right, folks. I hope you get something out of this one. Another one as we go through June and look at health issues, right? Great information. Next week we're going to be back, and Dr. Unati is going to join us, and we're going to talk about the ladies next week, right? We're going to look at fibroids and vaginal discharges, and how to take care of your body, the female body, because there are lots of things that affect us, especially Black women, and we want to demystify some of them and understand what are some of the solutions that we should look at as we take care of ourselves and focus on our health. As always, I ask you to share the information, join the show. Well, follow us on social media. Special request to jump on our YouTube channel and subscribe. July 10th is a big day for us, so remember that. 'Cause we're going to have our little taste, and we're also going to have our cultural showcase live streaming, right? And for those who join late, the part of word of the day is fussy, right? A lot of people have things on them skin and we call it fussy. But if you use some natural remedies, you'll be amazed at how well it cleans up. All right. It's nice and bright here in Calgary. Hope you're taking care of yourself. We're opening back up on the 1st of July, but it doesn't mean that COVID gone. So be careful and take care of yourself properly, right? Until next time, walk good, stay safe. We're close to the Buju Banton as always. All right. Let's see if we can.
And that's what they make them take it. So